Joe Hawley, also known as Joseph Robert Hawley, is associated with the band you all probably know. It's your first time seeing or knowing about Joe. He's one of the red time members of the band known as Tally Hall. I had to recolor every letter on this text, by the way, on the document. He's known as the rhythm guitarist and vocalist and responsible for one of my favorite Tally Hall projects, which was already in his older work /mine before, but we'll get onto that later. Joe Hawley and Tally Hall appeared a lot in the early 2002 and 2003, and so on. Like Tally Hall, Internet Show, of course, HIS with this, Late Show, and Disney projects like Happy Monster Band. He was an early child actor as well from the Screen Actors Guild, or SAG. He was also involved in Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack and was labeled as a sick boy in bed. I couldn't find any footage of anything about the season and episode right now, but it would be really helpful if someone tells me. Made a really good album about the most mysterious and fan-interpreted song ever called Miracle Musical or
Miracle Musical.
I'm mainly interested in Sargasm, Anonymous, and a very existential yet amazing film/movie called The Other Way.
Criticizes me for being egocentric.
So we'll be discussing those first. Anonymous was a comedy film troupe founded by Joe Hawley in the fall of 2002 at the University of Michigan. They were busy during his sophomore year, generating video drawings that were later assembled into a feature film called Sargasm. Many of the sketches from the film were later used as early Tally Hall videos on the website after it was released in the spring of 2003. They actually met each other first, Spencer and Joe Hawley, rather than the whole band meeting each other in one school or university. This film is a very normal college filmmaking project /video, and it does a lot of old YouTube, a little bit of like Smosh or Filter Frank for it. Maybe I'm just like a really old 2010s kid, so yeah. Sargasm is a film created by Joe Hawley's comedy troupe, Anonymous, released in April 2003. It is a compilation of various sketches that later became a part of Tally Hall's internet show. The film was initially thought to be lost, but was rediscovered and uploaded to YouTube in 2018.
Wow, what a trailer. All of this trailer that happened in the trailer, by the way, did not happen in the movie at all. That guy in the car was definitely trying not to laugh, and he synchronized. Also, there's Joe. I think this was a scary movie reference because this came out earlier in the 2000s.
I die.
And they keep repeating this 4 times in the movie at least, by the way.
I die. Start from die.
You can tell, by the way, how he got the inspiration for each background effects that happens in the THIS or this. Like for example, the parts where he says, "Did you know or do you know?" Or what you don't know is that if you don't hit that subscribe button right now, nothing's gonna happen. I'm not forcing you. But I would appreciate it though. Considering he was a filmmaker and a screenwriter at the time, he was definitely that theater kid back then. It does make sense. Hey, it's Robert Cantor. Cantor. Hey,
What?
it's Robert Cantor. Corn Bobber, which just see for yourself.
Welcome to Incredible Inventions. I'm Ricky Lax, and I have a confession. I love corn.
Ricky or whatever his name is definitely did a blooper right there.
Thing. And that's Mr. Headache Medicine.
Dude, is that Carl Sagan laughing? You're so loud. Penetrate, rotate, and enjoy. Again, as you can see, the 15 intermission thing. This is a very much 15-second intermission. It's very much just like 15 seconds of 15 seconds of
excuse me, I'm getting a call on my cellular telephone.
Forgot phones like this existed. Holy bro. Well, props dead. I think this was a Hawaii Part 2 reference. This was genuinely the most funniest thing in the movie.
Yo, man, what up?
Hey, man. I'm masturbating.
Oh, no way. How's that working out for you?
It's wonderful. I'll let you know if I need anything.
Yo, Chad, I'll call you back. This guy thinks I'm talking to him. Yeah. Yeah, alright, later.
Hell no, man. What the?
Everybody knows that dancing is a highly enjoyable recreational activity. What you don't know is that dancing was invented by Joseph Stalin.
Dancing was not invented by Joseph Stalin, by the way, if that wasn't obvious enough. Because I had to search it. I actually thought it was like somewhat real. So I'm stupid for that. Break it down. This video had less views, and Dream SMP Anime had more views of this, bro. Please check it out.
I'll marry a wealthy man.
Wouldn't that make you gay?
Not necessarily.
I feel like this would have been a potential Tally Hall song, or like a reworked or remake. Okay, so the plot of the quote-unquote plot, I guess the main villain of the movie, which is just Joe Hawley, hitting die on the phone, like random people dying. So this guy wearing a like Stan's beanie. So you know the guy chased him in an alleyway, and then the guys that were synchronizing hit him for some reason without noticing at all. And then they just continue on with their day synchronizing. Okay, I think I saw this guy as like the news reporter for like the burglary bit, and that they never showed that again. By the way, like we didn't actually know what happened, what Rob did. So yeah, who the heck was Drew in the movie, bro? Or maybe I just didn't get it. That's the whole movie, plus bloopers. And I definitely I'll read 8.5 out of 10. Yeah.
Sargasm is described as a humorous and entertaining piece, showcasing the comedic talent of college students. After seeing it, this was probably the most random movie ever. This movie does remind me a lot of like how to enjoy your mid-teens or 20s when you're still at it, because you never know what type of memories you'll look back on once you get old, type shit. I mean, it's probably just like a project film that he did because of school/college, or it was just made by like a personal passion project that he made because he was really into like filmmaking and screenwriting. It really did look like everyone here was having such a great time, man. The Other Way and The Other Way is another movie/short film directed, edited, and written by Joe Hawley. 2 years later, after the release of the comedy film troupe Sargasm, it was his senior high school thesis film project. The actors, production, the settings, the editing, the writing, everything about this movie was beyond. Like seriously, how many people or how many connections does Joe Hawley know how to pull to make a film like this? I'm not even sure if what I saw in the film was like a real hospital or was just something, or it was just like a rented place or something. Speaking of, let me explain. The main character, Hank, who is played by Joe Hawley, gets stopped by a police officer in the scene for speeding. The introduction seems a little strange, doesn't it? It's almost like the start of the film actually looks or feels like the end. He encounters Chelsea in some sort of pizza restaurant. She says that someone close to her has recently died, and then Joe tries to comfort her about the grief she's experiencing. And then she asks something that I've literally been trying to avoid thinking or talking about, but now I know this is just something that I'm really interested in, so.
What do you think happens after you die?
Well, I think you return to obscure.
Then just follow me on this one, because I don't want this to be too long and I want to make a separate video of this. She pulls out this black bag thing that's apparently their baby. The baby farts on Joe. The ongoing story of the film/movie gets weirder, surreal, and more dreamlike, almost like a David Lynch moment. Hank has an existential crisis about fatherhood for a minute.
Your baby. Your baby. He was born yesterday at 5:29. Well, you know, you gotta die. Your
Then time begins to move in. You guessed it. Reverse. I will do a video on this, like a separate video on this if I can. Preferably both, because it is genuinely so uncanny and bizarre and interesting. So subscribe if you wanna, if you find my content enjoyable. The conclusion shifts from a realistic story to one that is cosmic, metaphorical, and challenging to literally think. This is how you know Joe Hawley has always been really philosophical in terms of stuff like this, stuff like time, etc. Well, that's all she wrote. Next slide. The mic is finally okay. So this is where the magic happened. I wrote in my original draft that some tracks just didn't sit with me, but I know that's a lie. Because what am I saying? I love all of them! According to the most reliable historical page on the internet, Wikipedia, Rob Cantor, Dubin Seji, and Andrew were playing together in a university band called 540. Rob, after learning Joe's musical abilities, decided he was like, dang, this guy is really good. They formed a band. The lineup was rounded out by a drummer named Steve Gallagher, and they soon went under various other names like literally just as Gallagher and Partii Booby Trap. They eventually settled on Tally Hall, named after local mall's food court. Joe is the red tie member of Tally Hall, in case you already did not know that. Many of his songs were later used from his early works, something he's already written before, like from his comedy/horror films The Ruler of Everything, Banana Man, Spring and the Storm, and Turn the Lights Off. Forgive me, by the way, if my voice, I'm like coughing a little bit, I'm still currently sick. The Ruler of Everything is in their first album called MMMMM or Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum. I don't know why I just said all that. I'm not sure with the mic here, but you could have just said that. And it's the 14th track of the LP. The early demo versions of the tracks were recorded and released on Tally Hall's Partii Booby Trap EP in 2003 and complete demos in 2004. And it appeared in his film The Other Way project as well.
Shit!
Banana Man, from what I know and searched, this song has no meaning at all, and that's perfectly fine. It's a song that's just so fun to play or listen to, although as stated in the document that was commented on the r/Tally Hall, Joe Hawley documented interview, the idea came when Joe woke up one day in the middle of the night and heard what he described as an African-style chanting What he described as an African-style chanting coming from his television. That's so hard to say, what the heck. Later, while alone in a hotel room during one of his younger sister's dance competitions, he wrote the lyrics. Spring in a Storm has a lot of philosophical meaning, of course, and I'm gonna talk about this a lot in this section. It's one of my favorite tracks from them now, personally, for personal reasons. Its lyrics sings about the skies, mortality, death, and what happens after you die. It's definitely a more emotional song now, given, only seeing the four of them perform live, and yeah. Anyway, it really screams existentialism as well. How they sang the song by the end of the lyrics, create until nothing is left to create, is what life gives purpose and meaning. Making something that matters, even if the universe doesn't care. The universe bursts with an overworked sigh, and of course, doing the things that you love and value until you may never do them again, or until the universe, if the TV is bright, it's gonna freeze, or come into a heat death, etc. Anyway, philosophical stuff. If you couldn't tell as well, and I'm pretty sure Joe Hawley definitely wanted to do more with this band. He's already been writing a lot of these philosophical ramblings for such a long time now. Ruler of Everything may give you an existential crisis as well, which only gave me, showing how AI will probably outlive you. But Spring in the Storm is kind of out there, man. Turn the Lights Off, you guys probably know this a lot now. It has 100 million listeners on Spotify. As I've heard, this song is about growing up in adolescence and experiencing this thing called puberty. Unlike Banana Man, which is mostly absurd and playful, Turn the Lights Off deals with fear, temptation, and desires, and the parts of ourselves that we don't usually show. I think all in all, it's a song about how we change and get a little weird when we reach the point of puberty. The song's monsters are metaphors for the darker, weirder, or hidden aspect of human nature, rather than actual monsters. It does remind me like a lot of like Carl Jung's shadow integration, where a part of ourselves would be reject/hide, much like how Thomas Hope says, it is a representation in all human people, regardless of how kind they are, show many impulses that they suppress like anger, jealousy, selfishness, selfish desires, and sexual desires.
Mirakuru Mujikaru. Okay, now it's time for everyone's favorite subject. Miracle Musical Hawaii Part 2. Okay, let's try to make this quick. There are a lot of summaries on YouTube. They're more like theories or speculation, since from what I've heard and known about is that there's no actual explanation of the album/track from Joe Hawley. I mean, there were interviews, but assuming some of you don't know, a man meets a woman on an island, they fall in love, a man named Simon accidentally murders her, Simon gets sent to trial/court, he says that his mental illness has taken over his mind gets electrocuted, he has a dream, and he sails off into the ocean, assuming he escaped the facility, hoping to find his love, but it all just comes to an end. I know I didn't not get that right. It kind of does remind me of just like Shutter Island lore, to be honest with you. And this is an honest reinterpretation. I don't have any definitive like ways to like actually think what did happen about in this musical in this album. So there you go. You have fun bullying me in the comments, I guess. What I've seen in Joe Hawley's work is that he really likes doing things in reverse. The Mind Electric, for example, was first played in reverse after we actually heard what the lyrics were saying at 2:52. This is the same thing, of course, if you've seen or watched the other two parts of The Other Way. I think it's supposed to symbolize birth, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, old age, and death altogether. I think it's a metaphor for you can literally never go back in time, or reverse the time of your life, as this old man says.
The only circumstances you can count on are birth and death. Whatever happens in between doesn't matter, but those two things gotta happen.
What the fuck is this bullshit?
Which is something that I so badly want to make before anyone does. Okay, but let's move on. Time is a big theme in both Joe Hawley and Tally Hall because time only literally just moves forward and it doesn't stop for you. Hope that didn't give you as much of an existential crisis. Probably not. After the Tally Hall hiatus, Ross Featherman and Bora Karaka, okay, I'm freaking pronouncing that wrong, but excuse my freaking accent. It's actually pronounced Karaja, what the They actually still worked alongside with Joe Hawley, and also Subin? Primarily for the Miracle Musical Album project. According to Hawley, the seed for the project goes back much further. He said that his family went to a trip in Hawaii in 1997 and inspired the musical idea that stayed with him for years, that eventually becoming Hawaii Part 2. Later, he referred to the album as a once-in-a-lifetime musical, and he has occasionally linked it to themes related to the September 11 attacks and also December 12, 2012. You know, how we all thought the world was going to end. And I'm sorry if you heard like a really, really loud noise for a moment. I hate living in this country. Anyway, the mic didn't actually capture that, so I think it's okay. I was completely clueless about this situation, by the way, during production. Howley Featherman, what? I meant to say Howley Featherman and Bora apparently did not collaborate in person. Several artists recorded their parts individually and submitted it to them. Like for example, Charlene Kay and Alison Hanna, the other female vocalists, and also I'm gonna list like there's like a lot of like collaboratives here, so I'm just gonna list it right here in the screen if you can see them. At one point, these songs like Murders, The Mind Electric, and Time Machine were actually supposed to be considered for Good and Evil album before being reworked for Hawaii Part 2. A lot of its tracks are so popular and well done because of their musical theater style arrangements. Like literally the next track is a musical theme from 1700s or 1800s to a literal hip-hop rap song. Joe Hawley's music has evolved to a more experimental type of songs, mixing a lot of 8-bit retro, jazz, and 90s, 60s vibe. I mean, they He probably always did this anyway. Or maybe the part of his philosophical and existential works has already been there from the start. And Hawaii Part 2 was his calling. Joe Hawley is an amazing artist, but knowing the current situation, how can we separate the art from the artist? I've been wanting to talk about this in a long time. That's the reason why I made this video. Even though most of the artists are a representation of them, so like, how do we actually separate that? Let's talk about it. Okay, I know I said I was gonna talk about what I was gonna talk about before, but like, let's get this out of the way first, and because I want this video to be 25 minutes long. Anyway, starting with the bad ones, because the bad first always brings the light to the good. So yeah, okay. Can everyone please relax, please? I need to cough, dude. Hold on. I just need to mention this part of the essay because it's genuinely interesting, to say the least. I went to check back to Joe's Instagram because it's been a bit now since I last saw this guy post anything. 2022. Goodness me, bro. Okay, it is just crazy how people react to this man. Like, you can see this guy obviously not, being in the right state, and I'm saying that in the most like respectful way ever. And these guys are just like, oh, okay, oh, like the guy is up to, as you can see. Can you relax, please? Obviously, these are minors, probably, that know better. That's already been a given since ever. So, but I will be calling you guys out. Okay, even if I'm just a guy who writes essays and make videos online. Chill out, yeah, man, please. Also, as of writing this June 26 and recording this video, and the recent post of Joe Hawley's interaction with his fans has become a bit of a problem, if that wasn't already for a while now. If you look onto the r/TallyHall subreddit and his Facebook page, people are just mocking or either bullying him because of his unwell mental being. Of course, I think, and as well as others thought before, that we shouldn't interact with Joe Hawley in such a manner anymore. In fact, I don't even think we shouldn't be interacting with him at all. Especially if you gain nothing from like saying any of those stuff or bullying him or mocking him. Like, what do you gain besides like being an a-hole or being miserable in general? But given how the internet works, we can only just hope for the best. But there are like actual fans out there that are just made of unbreakable diamond. Why am I trying to make a JoJo reference, man? This is a Joe Hawley video. Come on, man. Stick with the topic. Anyway, for example, people posting or reposting Joe Hawley's performing at Sonic Lunch. Goodness me, bro. I'm sorry even mentioning that, but his singing was really, really beautiful at that time. And people are reposting old 2005 and 2006 memes from Tally Hall. I mean, this was like 2 or 3 years ago. This is nothing really new, but I really love the randomness.
I'm gonna make a meat saucer out of your face.
I'm not trying.
Besides the fan art, of course, even I'm seeing like a lot of fan arts of Joe Hawley until now, man. Like that's really, really beautiful. There's still people that still remember this guy and still obviously love him for the works that he's done and his personality and how he was involved a lot in the band members. And I'm pretty sure the band members of Tally Hall also feels the same. I can mention a lot, like the Miracle Musical memes, the edited videos of his demos, even now, especially on TikTok, of course. There are a lot of parodies and channels that still hold up. Rob and Joe's legacy of Tally Hall. Without them, we probably wouldn't be introduced to any weird, bizarre, existential, philosophical music, like, or not even music as well, just anything in general. I was gonna mention like Will Wood, Jack Stauber, Lemon Demon, and even Bo Burnham. Obviously, they're not responsible for these artists, of course, though it's more of like a paving way for them to like listen to different artists. There's just like Tally Hall or like Jolly Halls. I keep mispronouncing it. I meant to say Joe Hawley songs. The covers are absolutely amazing as well. If there's any musician that I really want to experiment with, it's through this guy's artistic motives and philosophy. Yeah, learned a lot through his demos. A lot for one. So for the past 6 or 7 years, okay, or even more, there's been nothing but drama, and it is more like a case for Joe Hawley's mental health which I do not think it should be anyone's business at all, but we should all be wishing him well and with very kind and gentle words with the situation, of course. No matter how bad it is, Joe Hawley is still a human being, and he's still that guy.
Red the proud loud guy we adore. Is my hand too high? No, turn it up more.
That you really loved way before. I mean, some people say, even Andrew says that he's not as the same anymore as he was back then. You could say that Joe Hawley is still a human being, so I obviously I'm not defending the things that he did. Heck no, bro. I'm gonna play this clip. This is actually frying me, bro. They're all in different texts as well. Pretty good. Probably heard someone say this before, but considering the recent drama of making this essay video, it's time to spread the word again in the hopes of hoping something good coming out of this in the end. That kind of rhymed. How can you separate the art from the artist? I'm going to get a little deep here because that's just something that I do. How can you separate the masterpiece from its creator if that creator is literally almost, at least, the extension of what they made and who they are? Or, you know, the extension of the art. The simple answer to this, if you don't care about it at all, which is fair enough, is just don't think about it too hard for you. Just don't. Just conclude your video. If you want the honest answer, you probably can't. But in the same way, you can't reduce the art because of its artist's background or historical controversy. Which, let's face it, if you're someone famous, you'll probably be experiencing a little bit of that once in your lifetime, even just a little bit of drama. So why can't you just separate the art from the artist? Well, as said, it's pretty much an extension of the artist's personality, identity, and self-projected into whatever tools that they can represent themselves to make art. In this case, via music production, Joe Hawley. So what can you do? Well, I don't think really there's anything you can do about it, but just to appreciate the art while not reducing what the artists are and what they make. Some other people think that understanding art is essential to understanding how the artists also work. Others may disagree with me on this one, and that's totally fine. Let's try to find like an understanding and discussion in the comments. But considering Joe Hawley's personality / behavior even before and now, the art itself evolves as the artists themselves also change, whether that's something good or bad. Okay, art itself is literally an expression of the artist itself. So regardless of how some people may seem to dislike Joe Hawley now, he is still that guy who's responsible for making the most mysterious and what I, or even others like me, consider the ruler of everything, extremely deep and philosophical. He's still that guy who made one of your favorite existential fake album / project who you constantly listen to every night, or even when you want to fall asleep, like Stranded Lullaby demo or something. Or if you're into rapping once in a while and want to try singing Labyrinth. Or you're probably just someone who used to watch and listen to them a lot in the Tally Hall internet show. If you're someone born way before the late 2000s, or if you're someone that used to know Joe Hawley. Like I remember this video right here is actually just their fans' neighborhood or something that they just literally sang in front of them. That's so random, and that's so fun to see. As I've seen and observed and talked about with people on the internet, Joe Hawley is someone who probably impacted your life in some way. Not saying we should accept his actions or condone him for anything obnoxious that he did say, or not tell him to not get help that he desperately and definitely needs. But as someone who commented, Joe Hawley isn't himself anymore. Well, Andrew Horwitz did say that Joe Hawley isn't always the same loving, creative person that we knew in our active days as Tally Hall. So how should you proceed from this now on as a fan? I'm just a dude who does video essays. Okay, I keep saying that. But if you want to hear my advice, just keep listening and keep making something interesting related to him. Like fan arts, covers, video essays, etc. If an artist is that much of an interest to you, then I don't think there's any harm in that, unless you literally actively engage in certain toxic actions and obnoxious behavior with that person / artist. You know that they're not doing well as of the moment, but this is just my opinion. Let me know what you think. This has been Forian. Thank you very much. I hope to make more videos like this.